Hi, my friend. How is it going there? Sure, it's glad to have you here again in this video. And I think that you recall the last time we were speaking about the accent. Yeah, we spoke about the accent. And we tried to just to show what's an accent mean. And is it important to have an accent or not? Or it's important to speak with British accent? Is it important to speak with American accent or Australian accent, for example? And I think we just come to conclusions about this in the last video. Today we will continue discussing the same thing in this video, but I think I'm gonna try to just to clarify another topic, and it is related to professional English. Yeah, professional English. Sometimes we call it jargon. Jargon. It's jargon. We can spell it with Jargon. Jargon. And it is just descended from French, this word. Yeah, jargon. Jargon is a set of words or technical words used by professionals in a specific field. So if you are a physician, for example, or if you are a lawyer, or just you will use a jargon, technical words, which we call jargon. This jargon in the field of law, for example, it's my field, of course, it's called legalese. Yeah, in my field, this jargon is called legalese. But in medicine field, if they use the jargon of the medicine, they call it medicalese. Medicalese. So legalese and medicalese are the jargon which is used by lawyers or doctors. If you are not a lawyer, if you are not a doctor, of course you are not going to understand the language of the physicians, the language of the lawyers, because it's professional. You cannot grasp the meaning, you cannot grab the meaning, because it is very difficult for you to understand it. When you find or when you discover that there is a speech going on between two lawyers or a speech going on between two doctors, physicians, for example, physicians, you may be offline. You may be offline. You may be off guard. You are not understanding what's going on. Why? Because you are layman. You are layman. I mean by layman, you are incompetent in the field of law or in the field of medicine. So it is normally that you are not gonna understand what is going on. Just you are gonna be like a deaf person. You are hearing voices, or you are hearing a dialogue or a conversation going on, but you are not understanding what they are saying. Just they are tweeting, they are tweeting like birds. When we say tweeting, Twitter, we say Twitter. When you tweet, you write something on Twitter. When someone is tweeting, the bird is tweeting, This is the bird is tweeting. They are tweeting. Can you understand the language of the birds? You cannot understand the language of the birds, of course. And in the same way, you cannot understand the language of the lawyers, the language of the physicians, if they are speaking the jargon. They are just trying to use legalese or medicalese. This is what will be very difficult for you to understand. This is a set of professional words or idioms used by a specific group of people. Those are always will be involved in the same profession, in the same field. So it's not important to understand the jargon of the lawyers or the physicians or the engineers if you are not competent, if you are not involved in this field. You are not obliged to understand their language, of course. But in some extent, approximately, we need to understand some words of medicine and some words of engineering, for example, and a little bit of law. Why? Because we are living in this community. We need to understand some words in order to convey our message. I would like just to express myself, and I'm going to my lawyer. My lawyer is giving me advices, for example. He's advising me. I would like to understand this advice. How can I understand the advice if I have no clue? Yes, you have to be prepared. You have to be equipped with the tools which makes you such of just kind of that you are going to deal with the matter, in a way. So you need to just to collect vocabulary. Maybe sometimes this vocabulary is related to law, and maybe it related to medicine or engineering or any field. Just you choose any field. So if I'm in front of my lawyer and he is discussing a contract with me, I have to understand what is the meaning of the contract. What's my duties in this contract? In this contract, you have duties. There are obligations. What are your obligations? What are your duties? What are your rights? You have rights. You have rights. And you are burdened with duties. You have to understand this. The clauses of the contract, the agreement, which is gonna be very decisive in future. So you have to understand what is going on. This is not something which is attributed to competent to professionals. No, it's also demanded from the layman. The layman should know a great deal about law, for example, in order to avoid the pitfalls of the law. You want to avoid the pitfalls of the law. How can you avoid the pitfalls of the law if you can not understand to some extent to avoid them? So, avoiding the pitfalls needs you to understand something about the law. In the same line, in the same way, we can say that in order to be safe and healthy, you need to understand the advices of the physician, your physician. Your physician's telling you that you should not eat sugar because you are subject to be diabetes. You are subject to be diabetes. Or you have fatty liver, for example. Fatty liver. Fatty liver is something which is connected with diabetes. And if you have fatty liver, that is a bad sign. And you may catch diabetes later on or in the future. So you have to understand that this is something which is not good for you. You have to make exercises, you have to eat food, you have to follow recipes and descriptions written by the doctor, and he prescribes, for example, for you how to make your daily food, how to make your breakfast, how to make your dinner, and so on. So it's important to understand, to some extent, some of these legalese and medicese in order to just cope with what is going around you. But it's not, of course, your field, and you should not worry about being competent about it and knowing everything about the legalese or the medicese. Or just, I would like to say that if you are reading an essay in the law, for example, if you are reading something which is connected with medicine, don't feel disappointed. Don't feel disconnected. That is natural. You are not a physician. You are not a lawyer. So you will not be able to understand every word written here because it's not your field, and that's normal. Always think of yourself big. Don't think of yourself small, because you are big, and you should think big, not think small at all. And I'm sure you can achieve more than you are dreaming about. You are good at English, and I think you are going to do more than you imagine. Thanks so much for listening to my video today, and a huge thanks for your patience and for your being relentless and insistent to go to the end. Thank you and goodbye.